episode 2. So today, we said we were going to talk about Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
It was on Netflix.
But it is not on Netflix.
It's on international Netflix, so like for the UK and not the US. So can't watch that yet legally. So maybe soon.
Can't talk about it. I am very excited for that movie.
But yeah, me too. So we're gonna talk about 1917 because I stuck to my promise. I watched two of the Best Picture nominees. Granted, I watched them both yesterday. So yesterday, that's about all I did. I saw Jojo Rabbit in 1917.
Can't believe you saw both of them.
Yeah, I know. It was
awesome.
fantastic.
You had a great day.
I had a really good day. Yeah, it was thoroughly entertaining. Both of them, super different war movies. I think you classified.
Oh yeah,
as
I kind of don't even.
I
mean, it totally. I mean, I get.
movie,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
At the end, there's the sequence where he's running around and there's all the guns and explosions. And stuff, but yeah. So let's talk 1917, I guess. We can.
Yeah. I've seen it twice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One time in IMAX, and that was way better.
Dude, I mean, that was amazing.
Oh my gosh, it was absurdly good. Kept trying to figure out, because the big thing about this movie is that it's made to look like one shot, and I could barely tell when they were making the cuts.
I was watching for the entire time.
Yeah, which you could tell a couple times. There was like certain rocks, but I was like, how did they do it?
Yeah, like, because I really like cinematography stuff, like that's why I'm in film school, and so I was like, it was not distracting. I think I said this a little bit last time, how like being a film student can be annoying because I'm like trying to overanalyze everything, but it wasn't to the point where it was like distracting enough from the story. But I was like, there would be points in the movie where like that's definitely a cut because like the screen went totally black or they passed around a rock and you could.
Well, there's just the one time, and I guess we can. Maybe, I mean, there's not many big spoilers in the movie, but
a slight spoiler warning. We won't give away like huge things.
But there was that one shot where they did turn into black, where there's like a shot, or he gets shot at, and then he wakes up, and that's like okay, clear cut in the movie, but they're still starting away from the exact spot where he landed. But yeah, you talked a little bit about the Joker cinematography last time,
right?
And now after seeing this. Because I'm thinking cinematography, and we're going to talk about the Oscars, our predictions and hopes later on, and we're going to talk about our top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. But after seeing the cinematography of this movie, I really think it's going to win.
Yeah.
Especially the scene with the flares, that was incredible. Where he, it was right after he wakes up, and then he leaves, and then there's flares all over. And sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's really light. Dude, I thought that was incredible.
It was like
an amazing scene.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I haven't been left like speechless leaving a movie theater in a long time, and me and my buddy went to see it, and we both left the theater, and we're just like, wow. Yeah, like we couldn't think of anything to say just because it was so good.
So freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. And there's been a lot of, I guess, comparisons online to Dunkirk, like which is the better war movie, and I think it's a little bit of an unfair comparison. They're very different movies, but I do think that I like 1917 more than I do Dunkirk.
I definitely do.
Because I felt, and I don't know if this had to do with seeing it in IMAX, but every time this guy, and I think it has more to do with the one shot part of it, where he's being shot at, and I feel like I'm getting shot at.
Yeah, exactly, because there's...
And you don't know exactly where the shots are coming from. Like usually in movies, you're like...
Like when he's crossing the bridge, I'm like, I don't know like where the shots are coming from.
Yeah.
Because you could like, you try to watch it from seeing where like the ricochets would go or like the dust would blow off to. I was like, I can't quite tell.
Yeah.
The whole thing about the one shot is like, you felt like you were there with them. Like you felt like you were just a dude walking behind them and like circling around them.
Yeah.
Which was
incredible. I have no idea how they shot this movie.
Dude.
It is incredible.
I was trying to figure it out the whole time. Like, okay, there was one shot, and George noticed this too, when it's like right after they cross into no man's land, and there's the big crater with all the water in it, and they have to like walk around the edge of it. Remember that?
The crater with the water in it. Wait, right after what?
Right after they like get out of the trench and they're crossing through no man's land.
Oh.
And there's the big crater and there's the barbed wire going through it and there's like a gap in it and they have to. The guy said beforehand, don't go in the craters, are deeper than you think. So they go like down into the crater, but walk around the edge of the water.
Yeah.
And then the camera keeps going across the water, but there's no ripples.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was just trying to, because that was at the end of a long take.
I think it was a drone, maybe?
So I'm thinking, what I'm pretty sure it is there's a transfer between a guy with a steady cam transferring it to a crane, and then the crane picked it up and moved it across the water. And then I think I caught a cut there because, so here's the crater, they're walking this way, and the camera pans around here and passes, a rock passes between them. And I was like, that's super, like CGI-able where you could cut that. Because that was at the end of the, like, I don't know, maybe at least 10 or 15 minutes where I was like, there's definitely not been a cut because it's just been walking with them. And so I think what they did is they went from a guy with a steady cam, like following them around and walking with them, because you can do transfers. Yeah. It's like super tricky, but like I love watching videos on it and like seeing all the different kinds of camera work you can do. But I'm pretty sure, and I don't know for sure, but I think that they had steady cam, transferred it to a crane carried it over the water, then they cut, and then went back to a guy with a steady cam walking.
That must have been so complicated to shoot.
Dude,
and you know more about those camera switches than I do, but I was baffled. It's crazy how they were able to accomplish it. And I remember watching Birdman and thinking, wow, this is incredible. How do they keep these long shots? And then 1917 just blew it out of the water. So much.
I haven't actually seen Birdman, but I know that they do have really, really long shots.
Yeah, I think they said that the longest shot in Birdman was about 12 minutes long. And so it's just kind of ridiculous to have a 12-minute take. But
at that point, it's like a play, like a theatrical performance for actors.
I think 1917 definitely the favorite to win Best Picture.
I think it should, just because it's like I said this last time. It's so different, but like it really is. It's like very bold, I guess, because when's the last time you saw a movie that's like, we're gonna do it in one take, but then not have that be the sole focus of it.
Right.
Like it's a very, very good story with great acting, and again the score is really good and leads up to like very intense moments and stuff.
The supporting actors in this movie, they were just dropping like huge names in the movie.
I didn't find that one guy.
They had Richard Madden.
Yeah.
In the end, he was
Blake's brother.
The brother. Did great. He delivered great scene with almost no time in the movie.
Yeah, Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Colin Firth was a general.
Andrew Scott, who I love. Have you seen the show Sherlock?
I haven't.
He plays more. First of all, great show. That's probably the show I recommend the most to people.
Okay.
And it's on Netflix, I think, still. And then Mark Strong.
Yeah,
dude, great. He was the first guy to show up. Actually, no.
I think Andrew Scott was.
No, you're right.
The general in the trenches.
Yeah. No, you're so right. Yeah.
He was there for like 5 minutes, and he had a really good little run. Colin Firth was the general. Mark Strong was the transporting officer, whatever. Benedict Cumberbatch was
the two main guys. I've never seen the main guy, George McKay. I don't think I've seen him in anything.
I recognize him from somewhere, but I can't tell. But
we'll look up his.
Dean Charles Chapman was. I remember him from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones played 2 characters in Game of Thrones.
Really?
Did you know that? Yeah, he was at first. He was a Lannister. He was like a young Lannister, and he was killed off. And then he was recast as Tomlin in the same exact show. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. You'll notice him, like people don't notice him.
Was it like season 1?
I don't know if it was season 1 or season 2, and then he started appearing as Tomlin. But let's see, 1917. But both of them were great.
Oh my gosh.
I think they did a great job. They kind of went with like lesser known actors for this role, and I think they did that intentionally. I think I saw an interview where they said that was on purpose.
Yeah. I think they're probably not going to be lesser known for much longer after this.
Yeah.
Just because they both did so well.
I haven't seen any of these movies that George McKay is in. His most popular ones on IMDb are like Captain Fantastic, Peter Pan.
Like the old one?
I don't know.
He wasn't
2003.
Who was he?
Oh, I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
He plays Curly. I don't know.
Okay,
I haven't
yes.
watched that movie in a long time.
Yeah.
And then another one called Pride. But he did a great job in this movie.
Yeah.
Very, very well acted. The thing is, I think, Sam Mendes, who's the director for this movie, I think he has a very good chance of winning Best Director.
Really?
And if he does, I feel like whoever wins Best Director is gonna win Best Picture.
Are they like synonymous, like Best Directors all?
They're not synonymous, but the last 5 years, I think it's
Really?
all 5 of them been that way.
That makes sense.
But because it was so difficult to shoot and they did such an amazing job and it looks incredible, it pushes the boundaries of what you can do in movies.
It still just blows my mind.
Like, it really does.
Because they did it. Oh my gosh. I was also thinking how funny the shot list must have been, where it's like follow Blake and Schofield, and then that's the shot list for the whole movie, instead of like medium shot over the shoulder, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah, they had to have been very limited.
I know it's definitely more complicated than that, but it's funny.
Like, how did they shoot the scene with the rat? How did they shoot that? Because they had to get him out of the rubble, and then I have no idea.
You know what was, and I think that was one of the most confusing bits of like camera work was you would see him you'd see the camera follow like either Blake or Schofield into some setting, and then it would start to pan around them, and it was like it was panning through the objects that are already in the scene. Okay. So the one I'm thinking of specifically is when he gets in the truck after the dogfight scene.
Yeah.
When Schofield gets in the truck, and then it follows him into the truck, like into the back of the truck, and then pans around this way, and it's like the camera's just moving through the people's heads, or like through the canvas of the truck on the side, because it looked too far away from Schofield. Like it didn't look like they were using a wide angle, which would have distorted everything. But there was like that, and then there was one other moment where I was like, I swear there was a wall there that they like just went through, that wasn't like, that didn't have a hole in it beforehand. But I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Amazing.
A lot going on.
And cinematography we already talked about, just incredible. I think I felt like, and I watched it the second time with roommates Eric and Nicholas, and he was like, I found myself like gasping for air whenever like the characters would gasp for air. I was like, I didn't realize I was holding my breath, and that's what the whole movie felt like. Like you were just holding your breath the whole time, like super tense, edge of your seat. Yeah,
because there's pretty limited dialogue, honestly, for a majority of it. Yeah, there's pretty limited dialogue.
Yeah.
And so I think the score played a lot to counter that, because there would be points where there'd be no talking, but it'd just get like super, super tense because the score kept getting up and up and up, and then cut out, and then especially when it cut out, that's when it felt like you were really there, because it was like just you and the guys.
Yeah.
Just there.
Incredible. It added a level of realism that I've never seen in any war movie. But my favorite shot in this movie, and it could be like one of my favorite shots or one of my favorite scenes of the year, was when and it's in the trailer when Schofield is running through and there's bombs in the background. Dude, I got chills both times watching that. I was like, this is so awesome.
And the way it builds up to where he starts walking, like he's been through some stuff at that point in the movie, and so he's like sort of walking, like you can tell it's not like normal walking. He's like sort of stumbling and limping a little bit, and then he picks it up to a run, or like a jog, and then a run, and then like he gets run into by a couple guys, and like but still keep like as he's rolling he carries it on into running still. And oh man, it was
an incredible scene. I cannot believe it. I
saw behind the scenes on that, and I think that those were like actual explosions too. They were just like super timed. I mean, we said this after we saw the Joker the first time. I love like practical stuff like that. Yeah. Just because felt much more real. Like
Right.
they actually.
And they went super practical with it. They built the trenches themselves.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was like, okay, I know this wasn't done in actually one shot, but like, how big was the set for this thing? Like set.
Okay, so I saw an interview of the guy who plays Tomlin. What's the name of the movie? I don't know.
Blake.
Yeah, Blake. And he was talking about how him and the director, and Schofield, I guess, were like just going through the dialogue and going on an open field and setting flags down.
Really?
So like tracking where they needed to build the stuff. So they built the set around the dialogue, which is kind of bizarre.
That's,
And so they rehearsed for like 6 months for this movie, which is unheard of. And they would literally set flags down in open field and then like, all right, we're going to make a turn here and this is what we're going to be talking about. And then that's where they built the trenches and then they shot the movie.
That's insane, because like, you know, with other war movies, like if you think like Saving Private Ryan, like, I mean, I think at that point there wasn't enough like CGI to do like just a whole movie in front of a green screen, so there was a lot of practical stuff, but also it wasn't all in one take, you know?
Yeah.
And so like this is like they actually just rebuilt World War One.
Yeah. It's incredible what they can do in movies now, but this is a prime example of just how far movies have come as far as the production side of things. And I think Sam Mendes wrote this, and it's a story partially based on a story that his grandfather told him about World War One, which I was talking about. There's not a lot of World War One movies. It's usually World War Two. Yeah, so it's a nice change of pace.
Which is interesting, honestly, because World War One I feel like was much more like revolutionary in terms of war movies, because that was like when they introduced like it's all these people who grew up with like tales of Civil War and Revolutionary War, and it's like, oh, you line up in this field and take turns shooting at each other, and it's like very like almost like not a sport, but like not like what it is in World War One, and then they get there and then there's tanks and mustard gas and trench foot and all this horrible stuff. So you'd think there would be more movies.
Another thing that really struck me was how young the soldiers were. The actors themselves, they look pretty young, but when there was that scene, the singing scene, and you could see like the pan of the soldiers listening to the guys singing, you're like, they were so young.
Yeah, the kids look like they're like 15.
And my mom was telling me that they would lie about their age to try to get on.
Yeah, because I remember learning about that like in high school, that like all these kids were like super excited to go to war because it was like you get all this honor and prestige and stuff, and then it was not that at all.
Right.
And like, at the end when he's in the medical ward and you see like just like chunks taken out of this guy's legs from explosions and people missing limbs, and it's graphic stuff. Yeah. Which I think is also interesting, that I think the reason this gets compared to Dunkirk is that they're both war movies, but it's not like action-based war movies.
It's also not about the plot. It's about the experience, I think, with both of the movies. And because they're both two pretty recent war movies, they're going to be compared in that way. But both incredible, first of all. But, but yeah, 1917. If you haven't seen it, you got to.
Definitely do. It's still in theaters.
I think so. That's my prediction for Best Picture. Is that your prediction?
So having seen now a majority of them, I think I'm gonna pull up the list again just so I can have it in front of me.
You still haven't seen a couple of them, right?
I haven't seen Little Women, Ford v Ferrari, and Parasite, and I think that Parasite is one that's like...
Parasite is one of the favorites. Probably after 1917, the favorite would be...
Yeah, so
Parasite.
I've seen The Irishman, I've seen Jojo Rabbit, I've seen Joker, I've seen Marriage Story, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've not seen Ford v Ferrari, Parasite, or Little Women. I don't know. Well, so from the ones that I've seen, I think 1917 should win. And the thing, like, I've said this a million times, this is such a good year for movies. Because even, among these, everyone that I've seen is super, super good.
Yeah.
and I know from what I've heard, Ford v Ferrari is amazing. From all my friends who've seen it, Little Women, everyone was posting about it on their stories, saying they were like crying the whole time. It's very emotional, super super well done. People were. Greta Gerwig didn't get put up for Best Director, right?
No, she didn't.
Yeah, people were upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it was a tough year to get in the director's list, though.
Yeah. Do you think they'll expand it? Because I remember we were talking last week about how it used to only be like 5 Best Picture nominations, and now they've expanded it to 10.
I like it for Best Picture. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it'll bring... But I think if they're nominated for Best Picture, it would just be the Best Picture nominations would be the director nominations.
Right, yeah.
So it would just be an extension of that. I don't know if there'd be much of a point to it. As far as recognition, like you'd love to see Greta Gerwig get a nomination, or you'd love to see Taika Waititi get a director nomination, which he didn't get. But I think I like it for the Best Picture because it makes people go see like more incredible movies.
Right.
But I think with Best Director, because then you'd have to do you got to expand the Best Actor, expand the Best Actress.
Yeah.
Where do you stop it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't be super against it if they did it, but I'm not
I do agree that I think if they did expand it, then it would just be whoever gets put up for Best Picture gets put up for Best Director, or vice versa.
But yeah, so I think 1917 is going to win, but Parasite would not be surprised if it got a win.
What would you be most surprised if you saw a win?
If I saw a win, most surprised, because I think as far as favoritism or what I've read about, I think I'll just list it off. I think it's 1917, Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joker, then maybe Irishman, then Marriage Story, then Jojo, then Little Women, and then Ford v Ferrari. I think that's kind of you can move a couple spots, but that's kind of what it's looking like. But I'm pretty sure 1917 will get the win. If not, it will be Parasite. I still think it's 1917, even though Parasite, it's oh my gosh, there's so many. All of these are so good, and I think Knives Out could have even been on this. I love that.
I think it at least should have been on the list. Yeah, it was super good.
But yeah, Best Picture, I would say 1917, and if we're saying that, then you would be thinking that Best Director would be Sam Mendes. If not, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. And I think they would go hand in hand. I don't see a scenario where Sam Mendes wins Best Director and then Parasite wins Best Picture.
I think
Director. I think they go pretty hand in hand. Wouldn't be mad about either of them.
Yeah.
I think it would both be incredible. Now, Best Actor, probably the most locked category this year with Joaquin Phoenix. I will say, after have you seen Marriage Story?
I have, yeah.
Adam Driver's performance was incredible. And I think if Joaquin Phoenix doesn't win it would go to Adam Driver, but I think that would be pretty controversial. I feel like if Joaquin Phoenix didn't get the win for this category. But I think he will, and we talked about his performance last week.
So good.
Best Actress, I haven't seen Judy, but Renee Zellweger is the favorite to win in the Best Actress category, and I think she will. Also, she went to UT, which is awesome.
Love it. I didn't know that.
But yeah, I did not watch that that movie. The others are Charlize Theron, Scarlett Johansson, who was amazing, Saoirse Ronan, and Cynthia Erivo and Harriet. I've heard from everybody that's seen Harriet that her performance was absurdly good. But I think from what I've read and heard, I think Renee Zellweger is the favorite for this category.
Judy.
And then, then we got Best Supporting Actor. Brad Pitt's been winning all these.
Yeah, I hope he wins.
in the other categories. I think it'd be cool if you won.
So entertaining. I was talking to Jacob about that. We were talking about just, again, how good of a year for movies this was, and I think this came into conversation about, I'm going to check what he said because it was funny. He was like, I'm just going to read it, hang on.
Yep. Yeah, and then Tom Hanks was also in this category, and it is a stacked category for this, for supporting actor. And I didn't see Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, but I mean, Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks, so I'm sure his performance was incredible.
Oh yeah, so we were talking about just movies of the year and like which was our favorite. Oh yeah, I asked him. I said, "What was your favorite?" Kicked that on accident. That's not bad. So I asked him what was his favorite movie, and he goes, I just kept listing. He's like, "What movies came out this year?" And so I was listing like all the best pictures, and then I just Googled what movies came out this year and started listing them off, and he goes, "How am I supposed to choose between John Wick and Brad Pitt hitting people with dog food?" Because that last scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was
awesome.
Unbelievably entertaining. I was like, there hasn't been enough violence for this to be Tarantino. I'm really confused.
That is true.
Adding up, and then the last scene just delivered so well.
Yeah, and I remember hearing that it was going to be tied to the Manson murders, and I was like, interesting. And then in the end, they just hit you with that. Whoa, what a great third act to this movie. But yeah, I think Brad Pitt will probably win.
I think he should too, just because he, especially given the movie, and like his role assigned, he did it so well. And it was a very subtle performance. There wasn't a lot of like DiCaprio was a very out there character. He had an accent and everything, and Brad Pitt was more the calm. I keep hitting the leg.
Yeah.
Anyways, Brad Pitt.
But yeah, Brad Pitt was more like a subtle performance, but he nailed it. You totally bought into like him being able to beat up Bruce Lee and.
Yeah, I watched that scene the other day. I forgot how funny it was. Okay, also I remember when I was watching it, I completely forgot that was a flashback scene because he's doing like the maintenance work on top of Leonardo DiCaprio's character's roof, and then he's like, "Why does this person not like me?" And then it just cuts back to that, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we're going back to Leo in his studio, and then or in his trailer, and then it goes to the scene where Bruce Lee's talking. And he's like, "If I kill you." My hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means if I kill you on accident, I go to jail." And he goes, "Yeah, buddy. If anyone kills anyone on accident, you go to jail. It's called manslaughter." Yeah. And then they, sort of get into it, and then
that scene was in the trailer for the movie, and I was like, I am so in for this.
So ready for that.
I am so in.
And then it cuts back to him on the roof, and he's like, "Huh."
Yeah, he just laughs at it. Yeah. But yeah, so best supporting actor, we both think Brad Pitt is a pretty big lock to win. Supporting actress, Laura Dern is also a heavy favorite for this one.
Which film was that?
Story.
Oh yeah, she was the lawyer.
She was the lawyer. She had one big scene in the movie where she talks about the image of women and her performance, and that scene in particular was really good. Scarlett Johansson's in for Jojo Rabbit. Margot Robbie could be like a sleeper for this category. But
did you see Bombshell?
I did see Bombshell.
Was it good?
Her performance was very good. I think overall it wasn't a great movie. Very good performances. The prosthetics they put on their face, like Charlize Theron looked just like Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, like that freaked me out a little bit.
She did not look like Charlize Theron.
No.
It was just kind of tonally changed. No.
0 for 2 on smooth, no camera difficulties. See if that. I guess just keep an eye on that.
That's fine. But yeah, I was interested in the movie because Clint Eastwood was directing. There's some big actors in there. I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan. I like. Oh my gosh, Don Draper. What's his name?
John Hamm?
John Hamm, yes. Big fan of John Hamm.
Yeah, that's
too much Mad Men, but I haven't gotten around to watch. There's just too many
too
good movies.
To watch, yeah.
Too little time. But yeah, that's also on the watch list. But yeah, I think Laura Dern probably gonna end up winning tonight, and then this is probably gonna get released This episode's probably gonna get released after the Oscars, so you can compare
unless I work
our choices
speed of light
to the actual wins. But I'm pretty confident in Laura Dern getting this one.
Yeah.
Then the other big ones, the other categories are not as big, but we talked best cinematography. 1917 was just incredible.
Mm-hmm. You were just saying earlier about having seen the cinematography of both Joker and 1917, and I think that it's interesting comparing the two because I feel like Joker was more going for like artistic cinematography, in that the frame sort of seemed like a canvas for Lawrence Sher to like work with and create, because there were a lot of shots that were pretty just like artistic and stuff, and I think that 1917 was just, I don't know, like I keep trying not to say different.
Yeah, no, I think one of the biggest differences I'll say, both the cinematography was incredible, but I think the variety of different set designs and the settings of 1917 really helps their case for cinematography, because like you have scenes in the water, you have scenes in daylight, nighttime flares.
Dude,
incredible.
Back to 1917 for a little bit, because I kind of want to talk about it. One of the things I found super interesting as, you know, a camera person is when you're doing such long shots like that and you keep changing the setting, like going from outside to like inside a tunnel or inside a cave, and the lighting changes and everything, and then you're changing focus in there. I don't know exactly, like, because there's like pulling focus is normal for, you know, like if there's, you know, I'm focused on you and then I focus on the wall, but the camera's still here, like you just have someone adjust the dial. But I'm thinking when you're going from outside to inside in the dark and the light changes like that, the camera's a very technical, you know,
you'd have to do a
piece of equipment. There's a lot of adjusting that usually people aren't doing that in one shot, and so going from, I'm thinking specifically at the beginning when they are walking through the town, or through the trenches, and then they go inside to meet the general, and then it cuts to like the room is super super dark, but having that done in one shot so smoothly and not like completely effing with the picture.
Yeah. So as far as with the way you've worked with cameras, you're saying that there's no way that was one shot because you'd have to do a lot of adjusting?
No, I think it was done in one shot. It's just super impressive and like makes me appreciate it so much more because of the amount of planning that they would have to do and having to find like the exact right aperture for, you know, for each spot that the camera's going to be in, especially when they're moving around and all that sort of stuff.
That is incredible.
So I would love to see them win cinematography.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then I want to talk about visual effects just because I wrote down, if The Lion King doesn't win, I don't understand this award.
Right.
How could
I want to look up what's put up for that.
I mean, you got Lion King, I think this is one where Avengers Endgame was up there, which incredible visual effects for that, but they didn't make everything CGI and look perfectly real. Right.
So you got Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, which did have super super good visuals. Endgame, same. 1917.
1917, incredible in the sense that you couldn't tell that it was there.
Right.
And they used a lot of practical effects.
Yeah. Interesting.
But
what?
And then Irishman, obviously, because they did the aging.
Dude, the de-aging, that was insane.
It was really good.
I didn't like. I couldn't tell when they were not using it. Like I was like, I forget what Robert De Niro actually was like when I was watching it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know either.
Because like if you watch it again, you look super closely, you can see like, obviously, what's his name?
Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci. You know, when he was super super old or a lot younger, it's like, I mean, you clearly tell. But it's like super subtle. So I think they do a good job. But Lion King is literally
I don't think there's no way they need to give it to Lion King, otherwise
right, because I heard, so I didn't see it, but I heard it was basically like shot for shot remake.
Almost shot for shot remake.
Yeah. And that I heard some people were like, the visual effects were like almost too good because it looks like just like it straight up looks like actual lions and toucans or whatever. And it's like, but then you have them talking. And normally when you have like movies where animals talk, it's like their mouths move like human mouths. But I don't think this did really. So if you were like,
and I think Jon Favreau
off a little bit.
Jon Favreau put a lot of emphasis on that, and he'd worked in the Jungle Book and making it work this way, and so he knew his way around it. But a beautiful, beautiful movie. I would not be able to understand if it didn't win.
Was this? Did they use cameras or was this literally all?
It was literally all in a soundstage. I think the only reason it wasn't like, well, I don't know if this is the only reason it wasn't nominated for animated feature.
Right.
But they had, I believe I heard that the scene where the sun is rising is actually a real shot, but everything else is.
So every little bit of this was just computer.
Every hair on Simba, dude. Can you believe that? Also the setting, like the grass, the tree. How do you make that out of? I didn't know you could do that with technology. It's incredible.
Yeah. So that hopefully
it's incredible.
That
I think I would be mad if Lion King doesn't win this one. I think I would be actually mad. Regardless of what you think of the movie and being shot for shot. In disbelief right now. This is why it should win.
No, because like I keep zooming in and there's
still real lion.
Detail. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
Crazy. Wow. Other than that, I mean, the other effects, I don't know enough to have a good opinion, or the other awards, sorry. I did want to mention the sound mixing for both, or sound mixing / editing, don't really know the difference to be honest with you. But with Ford v Ferrari, they're dealing a lot with cars. And I was like, actually thinking, like, there's very few movies where I'm like, dude, the sound in this is incredible. And like, I found myself thinking that during watching that movie, and I was like, really? That's very, very good. In 1917 too, especially when he's like getting shot at, and you're like, I was like, oh gosh, and I'm like, I feel like I'm getting shot at. So I think both of those for sound mixing or editing are up there, and then original score, I think Joker. With that, and we talked a little bit about it last week.
Score?
I'm sorry?
Who's put up for score? Best score. Oscars. Lots of Googling today.
Yeah. But incredible, that violin sound. And
Okay, so there's Rise of Skywalker, 1917, Joker, Little Women, and Marriage Story. I've seen all but Little Women and Joker, 1917.
You know, John Williams, I think, behind Walt Disney, is the most Oscar-nominated person of all time.
Really?
He has like 50-something.
Dang. I believe it. He's
crazy.
He kills it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So talented.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on best costume design?
See, that's where I'm just not gonna be able to.
I mean, yeah, like I'm not into that, but like looking at the nominations, like the Jojo Rabbit.
I mean, they make sense. You put Jojo Rabbit. It's like you gotta do like ones where are based in a different time, which they all are. But Little Women. I mean, they're all I felt. It felt true to the time period, which I guess is as far as you go with costume design, and it never took you out of the movie, and you were. Yeah, I don't know if because Joker's character was so iconic, and that might push it over the hump, but
yeah. Trying to think. Okay, speaking of like putting it in the time, one thing that always blows my mind is movies set in Hollywood, where I guess not even put in the right time, but like movies set in Hollywood where it's not standstill traffic 24/7.
Yeah.
It's like that's honestly for me one of the most impressive things about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the extended shots of Brad Pitt driving without having to hit the brakes.
Tarantino actually got all the stores and everybody to like have them. That was all practical, is what I'm trying to say. They did not CGI that. It was like 2-3 blocks that they made just into 1969.
That's so cool.
Really, really cool. I love that about the movie.
Yeah, I love that stuff so much. And just like as much as film and like movies in Hollywood are like a business and they're just like technically entertainment, there's so much stuff that like people do for them that just like demand a ton of respect. Like the amount of effort and stuff and like thought and intentionality that get put into movies like this.
It's
incredible. Amazing.
It's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these other categories that, I mean, I'm not an expert on. I don't think my opinion would be very valid. I don't know if there's some that you're pretty convicted on, but apart from that, I guess I want to bring up maybe animated. I mean, I didn't see Frozen, but that was like the most controversial that was not on there, and it wasn't up there for best animated, which is kind of bizarre for some people.
Because there's Toy Story 4, super good. Incredible. Missing Link, didn't see it. Klaus, didn't see it. I Lost My Body, didn't see it. How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World, didn't see it. Oops.
Yeah, so I only saw Toy Story 4 and absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I didn't hear about I Lost My Body or Klaus.
So I Lost My Body, I heard from one friend that it's really good. It's not really like a kid's movie. It's like about a hand, from what I hear, that just moves around. Kind of odd sounding. It's on Netflix. I don't know if it's a Netflix movie.
Yeah, it is.
Then there's Klaus, which people think... I think this is actually a pretty... Like, people don't really know. I guess the favorite is Toy Story, but... and then How to Train Your Dragon. I really like the first two. I think it is very underrated how good the first two How to Train Your Dragons are.
They're like,
and I still couldn't get myself to go.
Yeah.
It didn't get as good reviews as the first or second, so I wasn't as excited, but... but yeah, it's a pretty stacked category. But I think, again...
Toy Story is just so iconic. And it's... One thing that I find really impressive about Toy Story franchise is that they continue to make good movies. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, let's like reboot this nostalgic childhood movie. It's like pretty bad, honestly. But like 3 was super good, and then they're like, we're making Toy Story 4. I was like, you guys could have stopped. And then they delivered super well.
People talk about the best trilogies of all time, and I would always say, dude, Toy Story is up there, man. It is.
Honestly,
but I guess, I don't know if you can still count it a trilogy because they made a 4th movie. I don't know how it works, but the 4th movie still delivered. They're all like A+ films. It's incredible how consistent they've been and how good the movies have been.
Yeah.
And that goes for all of Pixar too.
I think one thing they do well is they don't try to like change it too much.
Yeah.
Like make it... I mean, it's a kid's movie, so they weren't trying to make it super political or anything. They were like, let's just tell a story of Buzz and Woody and them. And
yeah, but they also do it in a way where you're like, it's not... Because there's some kids movies that you're like, right, this is for kids. And you lose that entertainment value. I'm always like into the story. I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know if it's just nostalgia for me. I don't... Because I watched these... I would dress up as Woody for Halloween with my cousins.
I had a Woody doll growing up, and I think it was like a legit Woody doll. He had like the string in the back like Noah had, and I sold him in a garage sale, and I hated myself. A few years later, I was like, why did I do that? Like, I got like $5 for it. And that thing was the best.
But yeah, my brother was Buzz Lightyear, and I was Woody.
Nice.
So there's...
Love it.
There's that nostalgic connection. But yeah, as far as Oscar talk, I think we hit all the notes. We have our predictions up. We'll see later tonight. Hopefully I'm able to watch most of it.
Do you watch documentaries?
I do every once in a while. I didn't watch any of the ones this year.
I'm not a
didn't
big
watch any shorts. Yeah, no, I can't really speak much to those. I don't know how to judge editing.
Neither do I. Like, I thought it was...
Because I guess if it's really well edited, then I guess you wouldn't be able to notice, but it's I don't know.
I think that's... I remember in my class last year, they were like, good editing, like you know editing is good when you don't notice it.
Yeah. Same goes for visual effects.
Yeah, you want it to just seem natural and real. International feature, you have...
Well, that's for sure Parasite. If you're going to put money on anything in the Oscars, put money on Parasite winning international feature film.
Makeup and hairstyling.
Bombshell. It's up there, man.
Yeah.
Just I believe how they transform faces.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I didn't realize I made another Maleficent. or at least that it came out. That's
I haven't seen either of them.
Music, the original score. We went over that one. Original song. Did you see Rocketman?
I did. I liked it.
Was it good?
A lot of people thought Taron Egerton was snubbed.
I heard that, yeah. I mean,
I would have liked to have seen him in there. I don't know how
Joaquin kept praising him in all the award ceremonies.
He won a couple of them, I think.
That's good.
Yeah, his performance was incredible in that movie. I really liked it. I got on an Elton John kick for a while. I was listening to a lot of his stuff over the summer.
How much of it was Taron Egerton singing, and how much was it like singing?
I don't know. I'd be lying if I told you.
Because I know for Bohemian Rhapsody, it was
not him.
He would sing some, but dude, there's this guy. I need to figure out his name. He literally sounds just exactly like him.
Yeah, that was incredible too. Remember that debate last year about whether Rami Malek
Mark Martel, dude. Have you heard Mark Martel?
I think I have actually, because they put it on Instagram about just how much he sounds like him.
Yeah, I saw him online somewhere, and I was like, he sounds really awesome. Exactly. And
I think he did do that. I think there was somebody like him did the singing for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
which is incredible. But yeah,
production design. Okay, for production design, I feel like it's got to be 1917.
It could be. Oh, they're all. I would understand all of them.
Yeah, but then dude, people are good at making movies.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Short film. Actually, I saw the Hair Love one. That was cute.
Was that good? I think I might have seen bits of it.
It was about like it's a father and daughter, and the mom used to do the girl's hair, but the mom passed away. And then he like tries to start doing it, and he like messes up, and then he like works really hard on getting it back. It's a really cute little movie.
Live action. Sound editing.
We talked about.
Yeah,
the difference between editing and mixing. Do you? We'd have to Google that.
Probably should. I feel like I should know what all these are, and that I want to work on it. Whatever. Visual effects. Remember that one. Writing. Adapted screenplay.
That's also weird because it's an adapted screenplay. So are they praising what you changed, or just praising just the best writing of something that's already been written? I don't know. Also weird. That's also why I didn't pick one for this.
Yeah.
Writing original screenplay. I like seeing Knives Out get nominated.
I do too.
Yeah. Very well written film. I saw.
Two donuts are always interesting because they could be super good or super bad, and this one I think was done really well because I saw it with my brother, and he had seen it before me, so he had seen it a second time with Zach, and I was like, I mean, it's kind of a long movie. How does it drag on that long? He's like, oh, you know who did it? Like after 45 minutes, and I was like. So what's the mystery?
I saw an interview of Ryan Johnson, who wrote and directed the movie, and he said he wanted to take away from the audience having to figure out who did it and trying to guess, because you get to a certain point where you're like, well, I'm not going to figure it out, so I just have to wait for the rest of the movie. And he just flipped it on its head, and he's like, all right, and I'm going to make the antagonist just the impending like doom of the detective's going to figure it out. So they had just like an antagonist that was not a character, and it was just like an incoming thing. So well done.
I liked Knives Out way more than I thought I would. Same with
I loved it.
Gentlemen. I got to see that early.
Still want to see that.
Super good. That was one where like I feel like the trailers for both Knives Out and The Gentlemen don't really do it justice, because it's like, at least from what I got, the trailers were like, oh, that looks like a movie I go see, I guess. But they don't, and it's hard because the appealing thing about both of them is they're pretty complex. Like Gentleman is actually pretty complex, and like there's a lot of like, it starts out here where everything's sort of like hazy and you don't know what's going on, and then everything sort of diverges in the end. That works out really well. And Knives Out is sort of the same, where it's like, I was watching it with Zach, and I kept leaning over to him and whispering, I'm like, oh, this happened for sure, like I know it was this, and he's like, okay, and it was not that. And I had like 5 different guesses throughout the movie. I was like, oh, well, this happened clearly, blah blah blah. And he's like, no.
Also, the bit about how Ana de Armas's character would throw up every time she told a lie. They just so well done.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite movies of the year. It's like I haven't met a single person that doesn't like this movie. Mm-hmm. It's got incredible word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the trailers didn't exactly do it justice.
But it's hard to do justice to a movie when it's complicated the entire way through.
And one of my biggest pet peeves is when a movie gives out like the entire, or when a trailer gives out the entire
Dog Story. Have you seen the trailer for that?
The biggest one I can think of is Southpaw. Do you remember Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal? They just gave it. They're like, all right, his wife dies and then he's coming back. I was like, you gave away the entire movie. I'm not gonna enjoy it anymore. Mm. So I kind of like that it was like, I don't know, decent. Average trailer with a great movie, as opposed to a great trailer that gives away a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
But I highly, highly, highly recommend that. Knives Out. Yeah. I guess that's it for Oscar talk. Mm-hmm. We'll see later tonight if we got them right or not. Yep. I don't know what a surprise could be. There might be like a shocker, and now we're like, what? But I don't know what that could be.
Yeah, I feel like for most of these categories, at least the like bigger ones that we talked about, it's like kind of dead set between 2. So
yeah.
Like there are 5 nominations for something, but it's like there's really 2 that are getting decided between, which is kind of interesting, I guess. But at the same time, it's like any one of these movies put up for any of these roles, if it win, I would be like, it's fair.
Yeah.
You know?
I think so too.
I don't think there are any movies that I see that are nominated where I'm like, I don't know about that one. Like if I'm a pretty easy moviegoer, so there are a lot of movies that I see and I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't think there are any movies where I'm like, I don't think that should be put up. For actors, I didn't see. Did you see Pain and Glory with Antonio Banderas?
I heard his performance was great, but I did not see the movie.
I had never heard of it. And then
I saw Two Popes. Jonathan Pryce was incredible.
Really?
Yes, he was.
What's the, I don't know, like minute synopsis?
It's based on a true story. So for the first time ever, not ever, I guess since the 1400s, a pope resigned.
Really?
And so it's
how long ago
a story about 10 years ago maybe.
Okay.
It was fairly recent, but it's funny how they cast Jonathan Pryce. The director was and the writer were looking up Pope Francis, and already in those were like pictures of Jonathan Pryce because he looks so much like him. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how they cast him, which is pretty funny. But it's a great story. I think I maybe liked it more than most people because I am Catholic, but I think the conversations they have, it's like between the Pope that's going to resign and then Pope Francis, the conversations they have and the dialogue, I think is super relevant because there's conflict within the Catholic Church and there's conflict in talking about the topic that is religion, and I think it just gives a great perspective into that. And it's just two incredible actors, and Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Pryce just going off of each other. And it's like there's not much going on. It's just like two people in a room, and you're just like so hooked in.
Dang, that's awesome. You probably like Lighthouse then because it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
It's like 2 actors.
I want to check it out. I do.
It's also put up for best cinematography, which I think would be.
Oh yeah, Lighthouse.
I think would be cool.
It's cool to see for black and white.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that wraps up that. And we got. I've been excited for this part.
Oh yeah. Top 10 most anticipated movies of 2020.
I can see your list now. It's blacked out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna start at.
Let's 10. Do your 10, and then I'll do my 10, and then we'll go like that.
Start from the bottom up. The bottom of my list is kind of like. You know, it's there. I have more of like my top movies that I'm very excited for. So one sec. This one I have on my list just because the director.
The cast. We'll release it later. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of these that are on my list that there's not much information on the movie yet. But I guess we'll give a little explanation as to why we're so excited for these. But go ahead and give your.
All right. So coming in at number 10. This one just looks fun. Free Guy. with Ryan Reynolds, where he is a non-playable character in a video game.
Yeah.
Who figures out that he's in a video game and that he like sort of takes control, and that's about all I know. But it looks just Ryan Reynolds is such a fun actor.
I love
like
Ryan Reynolds.
He can do like funny movies like that and Deadpool, but then also more serious stuff, which is great too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that. I think that'll be pretty fun.
I'm excited for you guys too. I did see the trailers. My number 10 is Godzilla vs. Kong, which
I feel like
I
that's
haven't
been building
seen
up for a while.
I haven't seen Godzilla 2 yet, but you're gonna have. It's just, I mean, I guess it's a guilty pleasure. But
yeah.
You're gonna have two giant monsters fighting each other. I want to watch it.
Who wouldn't want to see that?
I'm very excited for it. I have no shame in it.
When was the first reboot of
Godzilla
and Kong, which came first?
2014. It was Godzilla. It came first. It was with Bryan Cranston,
right,
and Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, which was weird because it was the same year that Avengers 2 came out, and they were playing brother and sister.
Yeah.
They were playing brother and sister, and then in this one they were like love interests. So it was kind of weird, but I like that movie. I haven't seen the second one still. It's like one of the movies that I'm like, why haven't I seen it yet? Godzilla 2. But I'm very excited for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Nice. I'll definitely see that too. So on a number 9, I have Wonder Woman 1984. So the first Wonder Woman was the first DC movie where I was like, hey, good job, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to see some of the ones. I think Man of Steel was not as bad as people thought, but I feel like I was too young when I saw it. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman 1984 looks pretty fun. One thing that I don't like about it, and Thor Ragnarok did the same thing, they just gave away like a huge spoiler in the trailer.
So 84?
Yeah. And I don't want to spoil it for y'all. I don't know.
I don't know if I've identified it. Maybe I haven't seen all the trailers yet.
So...
are you talking about
a
specific character that comes back?
Yeah.
Well, but if he's in the cast list, I guess.
He's in the cast list. Anyways, Steve comes back, and he blew up in the first one, so I don't really...
Supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, it was like, like they show him in the trailer, and it's like, that's interesting. And then I was like, maybe it's just a dream. And then it's not, and he's in the rest of the trailer. I'm like, I don't really get that, but okay.
I guess they'll explain it. We'll see.
But Ragnarok did the same thing with revealing that Hulk was the challenger, because we talked about this earlier.
But you can't put, like, if you're going to have Hulk in the movie, you're going to have to advertise it.
Yeah. So
I get that. But I'm very excited. That was painful for me to leave off the top 10, but I kind of had to. Mm-hmm. My number 9 is Last Night in Soho. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Last Night in Soho. Are you an Edgar Wright fan? So number 9, Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright, Baby Driver director, bunch of great movies. Mm-hmm. Is doing a horror movie, and I'm a big horror movie fan. So to hear that Edgar Wright is doing one, I'm just super excited for it. I don't think a lot of people. It's not going to be a super high budget or high grossing film.
Honestly, like low budget movies can be so good.
Oh yeah. So I am very, very much in for Last Night in Soho, even though I have no idea what it's about. Mm-hmm. No trailers have been released.
Just knowing Edgar Wright.
Horror movie Edgar Wright.
Sweet.
I'm in.
Also, okay, so number 8, I have 007 No Time to Die. So I personally haven't watched a ton of the Daniel Craig James Bond ones.
What have you seen?
I think I saw some of the pretty old ones when I was like in high school or junior high or something, but the last one I watched was Skyfall, and I hated it.
You did not like Skyfall?
I fell asleep like 4 times.
Oh no!
And I watched it at like 8 p.m. Like I should not have been falling asleep, but I was like, this is so boring.
Oh no!
And every time I woke up, I was like, it's just dragging on for so long. But that being said, No Time to Die looks super entertaining. I saw the trailer for it the other day, and it looks like classic James Bond. Like he's got the car with the Gatling guns and the headlights, and he's doing donuts and shooting people, and lots more. I think it's more action.
Ana de Armas is going to be in it. Who was in Knives Out, which actually got the role for James Bond because Daniel Craig told the director of this movie, she's like, she was great in Knives Out. You should have her over, and that's how she got it. She's getting really big, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what she does.
That one's also on my list, but it's going to be a little higher. Right. My number 8 is The King's Man, which is obviously of the Kingsman franchise, but it's set before the Kingsman movies.
Oh, really?
And the director is Matthew Vaughn.
Okay.
And
Taron Egerton?
Taron Egerton's not going to be in it. But Matthew Vaughn, he was a producer in the Kingsman movies, but he did. He's also a pretty famous writer, and he. What else did he direct? Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. He directed both of the Kingsman movies. And he directed X-Men First Class, Kick-Ass.
Those are fun movies.
Yeah, but
I think it's very much Kingsman style movies.
Right, but I think the main reason I'm interested in it is Ralph Fiennes. I love Ralph Fiennes, good old Lord Voldemort as the lead. I'm very excited for it, and I was a big fan of the first Kingsman movie. The second, not as much, but I'm excited for this one.
Nice. So, The Kingsman is actually my number 7. Same reason I liked first 2 Kingsmen. I thought they were super entertaining. It's almost like a comical action movie.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of comedy to it, but also some super cool action scenes. So I'm excited to see what they do with this one. It'll be interesting to see without Taron, but I'm sure it'll still be good.
I think it will be, and especially because they got, oh my gosh, Ralph Fiennes. I'm such a big Ralph Fiennes fan. My number 7 is A Quiet Place Part 2.
Ooh, yes. I was debating whether or not I'm going to put that on because I really like it.
Yeah, I don't know if John Krasinski's movie was just a one-hit wonder and if he's going to be able to put it up again, but I loved A Quiet Place. It was one of my favorite movies of 2018, and I'm very excited for Part 2. I love it's like a thriller, horror kind of thing, and Emily Blunt is incredible, and I'm just super excited. I hope he's able to repeat what he did in the first one.
I am too. He killed it. I really like that one because I like horror movies that are like not all about like Annabelle type ones where it's like, oh, there's a demon trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like,
a little more complex.
Yeah, super cool. So on our number 6, I have Morbius from Marvel and Sony. Kind of forgot that it was happening until I saw the trailer dropped a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And my first take when I heard that it was being made, I was like, oh, Sony, why are you making a vampire movie? And then why are you getting Jared Leto? Did you not watch Suicide Squad? And I forgot Jared Leto's a good actor. Just
fantastic Oscar-winning actor.
Yeah, exactly. And so trailer for it dropped and it looked super cool. I think that the Sony Marvel movies have a lot of potential. I think Venom got way too much crap because obviously it wasn't like the best movie. Like if that got put up for Best Picture, I'd be like, ah.
Yeah, I didn't love Venom. Made a lot of money.
It was entertaining
for how much money it made, and it wasn't. And I love
Tom Hardy's fantastic. But yeah, Morbius looks cool. There's some Easter eggs in there that are super exciting, especially as a Marvel fan and especially as a Spider-Man fan. There's at one point there's a shot where it says "Where's Spider-Man?" or not "Where's Spider-Man," but it has Spider-Man on it and it says "Murderer."
We don't know for sure if it's tied into.
Which here's the thing, it's interesting because there's that, and they have the spray painted Spider-Man is Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit from the PS4 Spider-Man game. It's like just a still from that spray painted on, and so people were like, "Oh, it's Tom Holland's Spider-Man." It's like clearly it's a different suit, but then at the end they got Michael Keaton's Vulture, and the fact that it says "Murderer" over Spider-Man in the first one, like
Michael Keaton.
That's what
heavy implications. It being tied into Spider-Man, which I don't know how.
Yeah, at the end of Far From Home, Quentin Beck is like, Spider-Man killed me, so it makes you think people think Spider-Man's a murderer, but then it's not Tom Holland's suit, but then they also have Michael Keaton, so it'll be interesting to see how it's tied in, if it's tied in, what they're doing with that, because having a Sinister Six Spider-Man would be so cool. That
would be cool. I'm excited for Morbius. I think, like Free Guy, I think it's one of those movies that there's a range of it could be really bad or it could be really good. But I am excited for what Morbius could be with Jared Leto at the helm. My number 6 is one we've already talked about a little bit. No Time to Die, James Bond. I loved Skyfall. I loved Casino Royale. I liked Spectre a lot. I didn't love Spectre, but I think they missed.
I'm gonna make sure I have the right one because I don't want to be slandering the wrong.
Yeah, but I think with Spectre they missed out because they had Christoph Waltz as the villain and they didn't really use him too much. I think he's coming back for this one. And now you got Rami Malek. As the villain for this movie. Just I won't go too much into it because we already did, but No Time to Die, my number 6, most anticipated movie of the year.
I want to make sure I'm
Skyfall was the one with Javier Bardem and he had blonde hair.
Hated it. Sucked.
No!
In my opinion, bad movie. Anyways.
I absolutely love the movie.
Anyways, number 5. This is the one I was saying I put on there just because of the director, French Dispatch.
Okay.
I love Wes Anderson. Also the cast though. Timothée Chalamet, Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton, Benicio del Toro. So I have no idea what it's about, but I know that I love Wes Anderson.
I don't freaking care.
I've noticed in making films for school, even if it's just like a 5-minute video, I've got a lot of influence from Wes Anderson because I love his symmetry and his.
Went to UT?
No way.
You didn't know that? You didn't know Wes Anderson went to UT?
I didn't. I'm a bad longhorn.
My roommate Nicholas told me that like a week or 2 ago, and I was like, "You're kidding!"
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Great news.
So I've got a lot of influence from him, so I love watching his work, and because I feel like it helps me, personally when I'm making stuff. So don't know what it's about, but. Excited for it.
I guess it's my number 4. I'll skip over my number 5 real quick to talk about it too. But the cast, you already mentioned a little bit. Timothée Chalamet, Saoirse Ronan, Elizabeth Moss, Willem Dafoe, Tilda Swinton, Bill Murray, Christoph Waltz, Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, Benicio del Toro. You cannot get more.
Dude, what the heck?
So this was one movie that I had on the list, and it was originally a little bit lower, and I was like, no, I gotta move it up. So we moved all the way up to number 4 for me, even though I haven't seen anything for this movie, except for the cast list and the director, but that's all I need. I'm so in for this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be great. But my number 5 is The Eternals. This Marvel movie coming out. Yeah, it's higher on your list. But I love the cast. They have Richard Madden, who was in 1917, but I saw the show. Well, first of all, he was Robb Stark in Game of Thrones, so it was incredible. And he was in the show called Bodyguard that's on Netflix that I really, really loved. I binged in a day or 2. But he was incredible in that, so I'm like really excited for what he has in store coming up. So The Eternals, and then they got Angelina Jolie, and then they got Camille Nanjiani, who got absolutely jacked for the role.
That is hilarious. Objectively, objectively it is hilarious because I have I'll put it on the video.
Put it on the video.
Side by side.
I didn't see them first. I knew he was not in shape, and you can tell that. I don't know. I didn't look up shirtless pics of him before, but it's crazy how big the guy got.
Okay, so Hollywood steroids are so real, and if you don't believe it, you're wrong.
Well, I don't know. He said he got a trainer. Also, I mean, if Marvel's paying for it, they got a trainer. They have like probably a guy that's just hired to like look over him, make sure he doesn't need donuts, and slaps him out of his hand. And just working out, and I don't know. He looks crazy.
So fun because he is jacked as all get out. Like he's competing with Chris Hemsworth, which. Oh my god.
It is crazy.
I'm just gonna Google it.
But yeah, that just adds to the excitement of the movie for me, and they got a great cast. And you don't really know what it's about yet, but I think that going into this movie is a little bit how people were going into.
Bro, what? Okay, so this is what I knew him as. Like, oh yeah, and he wasn't fat. He was just like
he just was not
dad bod comedian, and now he's that. You don't have that many veins in your arm, bro. Okay, Chris Hemsworth doesn't even he's not even that vascular.
No, they do say that the really weird shaped veins that go around are signs of steroid use.
Yeah, his arms look
I don't know. I'm not gonna accuse him of using steroids yet, but it is crazy the transformation that he went through.
His arm looks like a leaf, with the little.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Shout out to him for that even if he did cheat. Okay, because here's the thing, like he still had to work out and stuff, but like there's no way you get from that to that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Anyways, that'll be exciting.
But yeah, the Eternals, and I know it's plus one. It's your number 4, is it?
Yeah, so I'll do
number 3.
That's my number 3. So I'll do my 4 and then 3 because they're kind of tied together. So
yeah.
4, Black Widow. Super excited for that. Big Marvel fan. I think it's about time Black Widow has her own movie because she's a badass, and it'll be exciting to see sort of her backstory. I don't know why they waited till now to do it, but trailers look great and it looks really fun. Also,
Lawrence Pugh, who is nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Little Women, and she was also in Midsummer. I'm very excited to see her in this. They got a good cast. They got Hopper from Stranger Things in it. I'm excited for it. It was one of the ones that I had to leave off the list, unfortunately, but I am also very, very excited for it.
And then my number 3 is Eternal. Same thing. For me, the cast is super good, but I'm more excited to see how it influences the MCU because it's like I think this is gonna be the one that sort of sets up the stage for Phase 4 really well. I think that they said they're not doing a like Thanos Infinity Saga style like setup where it's literally a decade of movies all building up to like an endgame thing. I think they said they're taking a break from that for a little bit, but Eternals is going to have a big influence on a lot of other Marvel projects.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the excitement for it is seeing where is Marvel going to go after. A lot of people are like, was this Marvel's peak? Is this what they're going to do? So this, I think more than Black Widow, it's going to show
for sure
the new direction of the MCU. So I'm excited in that sense. My number 3 is Soul, which is a Pixar movie.
I saw that.
Have you seen the trailer?
I think so. I think I've seen the trailer, but it's been a minute, so I don't really remember.
It's a little hard to describe. I would recommend to watch the trailer before listening to my explanation, but it's like, you can tell they're going to have some jazz in there. I think the main character is a jazz player. Also, it's heavily implied that he died, and then it's like the ghosts, and then like, I don't know if they're exploring the meaning of life or what the deal is, but I watched the trailer.
Just like children's movie topics.
So I don't know, but it's Pixar. They're always like hit it out of the park. It reminded me a lot of Inside Out in the sense that it's like it's such a strange idea, but they could so like nail it. And just Pixar is known for they haven't really made a bad movie. I love most of their movies. If I had to like put money on which movie I like know I'm gonna like when I see it, despite having seen very little for it, I think it's gonna be Soul, and I'm very, very excited for that movie.
Okay, I'm gonna check what your number 2 and number 1 is because I think they're the same but switched. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just talk about both of these. So you have for your number 2 is Dune. For your number 1 is Tenet. I'm flipped. I have Tenet at 2, Dune at 1, and good lord, do these look like good movies? Like okay. The trailer for Tenet, was in theaters for when I saw Jojo Rabbit the other day, and
we're gonna need to talk about Jojo. I think I'm gonna watch it again this next week. Maybe that could be our movie for next week. I don't know, but man,
dude, the trailer. Okay, Christopher Nolan is so good. I feel like this reminded me a lot of Inception from the trailer. And that it looks like this is just gonna like mess with your mind type movie, but in such a good way. And like the cast is absurd again.
It seems like Inception, but instead of messing with dreams, it's messing with time, and you're gonna see like
he tackles like such hard things to do.
Yeah, dude, he's like actually a genius. I don't know if you've seen Memento. It's.
Anyways, Memento.
Memento is I don't know if his second or third movie he ever directed, but you're just like, this guy's a genius. I don't know how he writes this. It's incredible. I'm super excited for this.
It's been a minute since he's released a movie, right? What was the last one?
The last one was Dunkirk.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm very excited for. Is it Isaiah Washington? Is that his name?
I believe so.
John David Washington, who is what's his dad's name? Denzel. He's Denzel's son.
No way.
And he was in BlacKkKlansman, and he did great in that movie.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm excited for him in that sense. Then you got Robert Pattinson in it. He's
killing it.
Full disclosure, I haven't seen him in anything other than Twilight, but I know that from the movies he's in and from the indie movies that he's in, that he's
Lighthouse,
made great choices, and
yeah.
I've heard from you and from everybody that he's a great actor. So like a lot of people aren't excited for Batman because they think it's the Twilight guy, but I think you should give him a chance because he has done like great acting. And I think Robert Downey Jr. said himself that he's very excited for the Batman because of Robert Pattinson, the work that he's done. So
yeah, give people second chances.
Yeah, that's very true.
Twilight.
Very true. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
but
Tenet looks crazy good. I'm super excited. When does that come out?
It's
July?
This summer.
That's not that far away.
It's not too far. $205 million budget.
Ooh.
Love it. Put it all on the screen.
Dude, that's like more money than I'm ever gonna see in my life. Anyways, that's super exciting. And then Dune. Man. Okay, cast for that one. What was the movie you were saying earlier? French Dispatch?
Yeah.
Dune is competing with that, I think.
Oh, I think Dune might pass it.
Good Lord. Okay. Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa, Oscar Isaac, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, David Dash. I don't know how you say that last name, but you'll know his face.
Yeah, you'll know his face.
Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem.
Dude.
And then some other people that I don't know the name of, but
it's
I bet they're killer.
Crazy. And then the director, Denis Villeneuve.
Favorite director.
Really?
Yeah.
He's up there for me too.
He's my favorite. Jake Gyllenhaal's my favorite actor, and they collab a lot, which is so fun to watch. Jake Gyllenhaal's not in this. That's fine because Denis Villeneuve is just so good. His
Prisoners. He's done Prisoners. He's done Blade Runner 2049. He did Enemy. He did Arrival. The man is incredible. I'm a big fan of his.
So good. I'm super excited.
And this is one of the movies that we haven't seen much for. Like, I think
dude, I'm gonna show the title card on this.
Yeah.
That is. It looks so cool. It's like Dune, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all like this shape, but just like this is the D, and then U, and then N, and then E or whatever. Anyways. It looks super cool.
It looks incredible.
I have no idea what it's about, and it's a remake of something. It's a remake of Dune 1984.
It is. I don't know if it's a young adult novel, but it's a very popular novel, and I think they've done. They did a movie in the past. I don't know how famous it was or how popular, but Zendaya in this too. Wow. But yeah, I'm very excited for Dune. I think it's going to be a great movie. Denis Villeneuve can't.
So it's a future set. Sounds like a future.
Yeah, it's futuristic, post-apocalyptic, or I'm sorry, dystopian type deal. But I am so interested. It doesn't come out till December, sadly, but
bummer. But yeah, between honestly Tenet and Dune are.
Yeah, they're right on top.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, but.
Given the cast and the directors and man,
so excited for this movie. Yeah, hopefully it's a good. I hope. There's gonna be a surprise hit out of nowhere that we're just gonna love. But it's looking like we're gonna have a good year of movies, and these top 10 are like our most anticipated. Some of them could suck. Maybe a lot of them could suck. But. As of right now,
there's definitely gonna be ones that aren't on this list that I'd love. Like, dude, I want to talk about this one like in depth at some point, but I should remember the name if I'm gonna talk about how good it was.
Who's in it?
Upgrade. Logan Marshall Green.
Oh, yeah.
That movie is slept on big time. It came out
I remember seeing the promo.
2018. I think. But that one was super good, and we'll definitely be like talking about that in depth at some point in this podcast because super slept on. It like I think it flopped to the box office and no one talks about it, but it's like honestly one of my favorite movies. I think I would say it's top 10.
Really?
It's super entertaining and very
I haven't seen it, but now I'm gonna add it to my list.
No. But
all right, that's our top 10 anticipated movies of 2020.
Wraps this up. Next week, what are we talking about?
Probably Jojo Rabbit, because I am going to see that this week.
Okay.
They're showing it at the Union. That's what they're showing on Thursday.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm going to see it at the Union, but if not, I'll just see it at home or something.
It's definitely a movie that I would... Like, there are movies that I really enjoy, but I would only watch, like, once in theaters or something.
Yeah.
That's a movie I really enjoy, and I would watch it plenty of times.
I love it. So maybe that one.
And then we'll talk about Oscars post.
Oscar post reactions. I don't know if we were super off. Who knows?
Pretty accurate.
But yeah. All right.
We'll see y'all later.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Good work.